friends. How's everybody doing today? I hope you're doing well. Yes, I do. I hope you're doing very, very well. I don't know what I am. I'll tell you who I am. Yeah, how about that? My name is Brenda. And you can call me Mama B. I'm good with Mama B. If you're not good with Mama B, that's okay too. You can call me Brenda. And YouTube likes to call me Mama B Diamond Drillin' 255. If you want to find my, say you're just typing my name in the search engine bar, you have to type in 255. I tried that one time, just typing in Brenda. Mama B Diamond Drillin' without the 255. I was nowhere to be found. I don't know, maybe I typed it in incorrectly. Who's to say, right? Oh, found another piece of plastic. I don't know, I might go ahead. You know what, Crashly needs to invent a release paper that adheres over the completed area. Yeah, she does. I'm going to message her that. So the part that's done stays nice and fresh, even when kitties walk on them. What do you guys think about that? You think that's a good idea? I do. So, well, all right. Let's get at it. Okay, yeah, I asked you how you guys were doing. So, how are you doing? Speak up. I can't hear you. I can't hear you, Ricky Bobby. I don't even remember what movie that's from. The Ricky Bobby thing. Yeah, don't know. I have my bling set up here in a little, what's that, 602. I got this from, wow, I guess I'm pretty close, huh? I got this at the Dollar Tree. Actually, I got a lot of them from the Dollar Tree because I love all kinds of storage. I love, what else do I love? I love stationery, paper, pens, you name it. So anyways, I have my extra bling that I want to do on Watercolor Cat in here. I sorted that out earlier today. Yeah, every time I think I'm on the go, I can just sit down and diamond paint until my heart's correct, or complete. My heart is fulfilled. That's what I want. And then something, I get another thought. I get another thought, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. That's not what I thought previous. I think I like this thought better. And then I'm off reorganizing again and not laying any drills, of course. Not coming any more closer to having completed WIPs. Yes. Whatever. It is what it is, and that's what it is. I want to talk to you guys about something. I think you guys know that I haven't been feeling well lately. And I think I know part of the reason why. I'm not hungry to save my innards, and I'm tired all the time. Let me tell you, trigger warning. This isn't going to be the most optimistic, positive WIP N Chat that I've done. This is probably going to be one of the less fun ones. Yeah, like a broken Funyun. It's a Funyun in reverse. Ah, shoot. I'm just not feeling good. But I just want to touch base with you guys, especially on WIP Wednesday. Some of you are saying, well, what's WIP? What's WIP Wednesday, Mama B? Well, let me tell you what WIP Wednesday is. WIP Wednesday is when you pull a project that you've already started, you pull it out and you work on that project. Yes, WIP Wednesday. So my work in progress that I'm working on right now is Watercolor Cat. And so I've got the bling already. I thought, in my mind, I had envisioned this to be a huge, huge diamond painting. No, it's not. But still in all, if you don't put drills down, it doesn't matter if it's large or if it's dinky. If you don't put drills down, they're not going to get done. None of them. So just, you know, this is what I'm telling me, is not to concentrate on the size. Just concentrate on, like where I am right now, the letter C. It's the fact that my pen doesn't want to pick up drills, that I might have to change my putty soon. I'm not going to try and concentrate that this is a small kit or if this is a larger kit. I'm just going to concentrate on laying drills. Where are my scissors? Right here. So, okay, from this point on, trigger warning is in effect. I'm going to be talking about personal feelings, personal happenings, any of the above. So, if you're not interested, I will not feel any kind of way. I will not feel, what's the word I want, offended if you don't listen to it. You know, you don't have to like it. You don't have to subscribe. Not all of my videos are like this, though. I promise you that. Yeah, I do promise that. Oh, I need another. Should I do a Labubu? I don't know if this is a true Labubu, but I'm going to use it. Whoops, whoops. Sorry, guys. Whoop, whoop. Come over here. Finish up my C's over here. How's that? Is that a little better? All right. Is that a little better with the light, maybe? Don't know. Okay, so I started this video many a times. And I know some of you have heard my story. Some of you have heard some of my story. Some of you may not give two cares and haven't heard any of my story. And that is so fine and dandy. But yesterday, March 10th, marked Brittany's and my 11th year from the car accident that we had. I'm not comparing my car accident, our car accident, to anybody else's injuries that they may have occurred for whatever the reason might be. This is just me talking. And if you have suffered from any type of accident, whether it be a vehicle accident, automobile, whether it be an automobile accident or whatever. I am very, very sorry for that. Would not wish that on anybody. So, March 10th, 2015 started out like any other day. And Brittany and I decided that we were going to go to Williamsport. Maybe I shouldn't say that town. Anyway, we decided that we were going to go to the city and go shopping. Not giving two thoughts about, oh, there might be slush on the road, right? Well, there was slush on the road, and we didn't even get, I would say, maybe 10 miles from where we lived. And we were doing the car accident. We were doing the speed limit, 35 miles an hour. Off to the right of the road was a huge parking lot that people use during Fair Week. Everybody parks there to get into the fair. So, but right at the end of this huge parking lot is a ditch, like a ravine. And Brittany's car caught some slush. What's that called when you hit that ice, you hit that slush, and it just takes you, you hydroplane. That's what happened. Of course, I didn't have my seatbelt on. Neither did Brittany. She saw it coming. I was looking for something on the floor to show her. And she was just like, Mom, grab a hold of something. And I looked up, I was like, what are you talking about? Now, this is just what we've, pieced together. And I see her, sitting like this against the steering wheel. And then that was it. I remember nothing after that. Sadly, Brittany remembers all of it. After that, she remembers my screaming right in her ear. She couldn't understand why it was right in her ear. Well, come to find out, it's a two-door. It was a sports Ford Sport Edition, a Ford Escort Sport Edition, I believe was the name of it. It was a two-door with the bucket seats, yada yada. Somehow, I ended up in the back seat. I was wedged between the passenger seat, wrapped around and in the back seat. Don't ask me how. Sometimes I wish people would have taken pictures just for my own knowledge at this point in the game. Excuse me. What I would have wanted to see them right after the fact? Hell no. Would I like to understand more, down the line? Now, here, 11 years? Yes. So there was somebody across the street. How is beyond me. Because, like I said, we were right outside of town. And he come over, and like I said, we were in that ravine. We had caught air, went down in the ravine, hit a telephone line that has gone, the kind that go from the telephone pole down into the ground. Yeah. And that's through from what I understand, the car ricocheted it from the front to the back. for a long time, I say years, part of the car's fender, they left stuck in that ravine. So every time we drove by it to drive out of town, yeah, we saw it. I don't know, we might have a picture of that somewhere. So, anyway, he said, you know, this man come to the car and Brittany undone, you know, pressed because they're electric windows, rolled the window down, and the man asked her if she was okay, and, you know, had there been any other passengers in the car, yada yada. She's like, my mom's in here with me. She was right in the passenger seat. She's like, but I can't find her. I don't know where she went. And when they located me, I was behind the seat. Yeah. Brittany had a concussion. But because I was hurt worse than Brittany was, they attended to me first. You know, why they didn't life flight me, I don't know. They took me in the ambulance once they got me out of the car. They did not use the jaws of life. I don't know if it was they were at another car accident or what exactly was going on. So the kind people just kind of dragged me from the back seat through the bucket seats and out through the door. Brittany said I was screaming at the top of my lungs in her ear the whole way through. Yeah. That's what she remembers. So I told her, I said something on the 9th. I said, I want to spend Wednesday, or not Wednesday, I said, I want to spend Tuesday with you all day. I said, I just want to be with you. I wanted to be with her Tuesday, but it didn't work out that way. It didn't work out that we spent yesterday together either. We were going to do pizza and wings. And of course, because I haven't been feeling good, all I've wanted to do is sleep. Weird, huh? I've gone from not wanting to sleep at all to that's all I'm doing is wanting to sleep. Like I could close my eyes right now and start sawing logs. Weird, huh? So they take Brittany to the local hospital and they take me to a different hospital that's like 45 minutes away in the opposite direction. Even opposite of the direction that we were headed in. Why they didn't take me to the hospital south of us is beyond me, because that's much rather where I would have rather gone. So, I don't know how much Brittany wants me to tell of her story, but if I ever find out who was on duty that day, they will hear the not so nice, sweet Brenda will come out. And if you're a mama, you know what I'm talking about. You don't mess with a mama's kids. especially when the mom is not there to help protect them. They had Brittany lie on a gurney with the wrong size neck brace for literally hours. Literally. Just accusing her of wanting to know why she crossed the white line. Last I knew, it was, you could cross the white line, it was the yellow lines that you're not supposed to cross. And let you know, even the lines that you cross on are dotted white. Well, she crossed the solid white line into a parking area. She explained to them that they caught ice. We caught ice or something because she couldn't control the car. Well, they would not let her out of the brace. They did tell her that she shouldn't be alone, and did she have anybody to come pick her up? Well, we have nobody. And she was like, could the ambulance just take me back, back home? No, I'm sorry, we can't do that. Do you hear the birdie outside? Yep, spring is coming. Hold on just a second, please. I'm back. Okay, long story short, they wrote Brittany a ticket, said she shouldn't be alone, told her she needed to find a ride home, that she would be getting her ticket in the mail, and they would not give her any information about me other than I was not at that hospital because there was no beds. There were no beds. And so she ended up calling my uncle, and she had asked if they could stop at where the car was being held to get her purse out of the car. The purse was right off. Well, it was snowy. It was a mess. By now it was daylight. Well, Uncle Jim, instead of listening, to my daughter, going, she's like, just stay here, park right here, I'll be right back. Oh, no. He did some other place, ended up getting stuck. And the owner of the body shop came out, ended up getting him out of the ditch. Brittany got her purse. Onward home they came. Of course, he really didn't care much that they didn't know where I was. And she explained to him that she wasn't supposed to be alone because she has a concussion. And he says, well, get up there and get some rest. Try to get some sleep with a concussion after being told she's not supposed to be left alone. And if you need anything, call. She just expressed what she needed. Did she not? So, now, mind you, this uncle is the closest thing to a dad. You hear me talk about my stepdad, okay? My uncle basically was my dad. Who knows, maybe he was. Maybe we had a little incest going on there. Just kidding. Joking, kidding. Anyway, so she came up scared to death, like I said, not knowing where I was, and knowing she wasn't supposed to go to sleep, but she was so tired, she went to sleep and woke up to this ungodly pounding at the door. Well, it was a friend of her boyfriend's. It was a relative of her boyfriend's. And ex-boyfriend. And between the two of them, you know, they had found that I was at this hospital that the ambulance took me to. So they call this hospital and they're like, no, ma'am. The cousin did. Brittany's like, I'm not talking to them. I'm not talking to anybody. And so this other girl calls. Oh, she was not dismissed. She was released today. We think she had a broken leg or a broken arm. We can't remember. What was her name again? Oh, yes. She's been released. So they were like, okay, that can't be so because she had really bad and, you know, she had really bad injuries. Oh, no. Well, yeah. They dug until they found trauma. I was either trauma 23 or trauma 21. Can't remember my number. But that's why they couldn't find me. It's because they weren't using the correct name. Yeah, that I was, trauma 23, trauma 24. I don't know, one of those darn traumas. So, I was not at that hospital. I had been taken to a bigger hospital that was like 2.5 hours away. Was I life flighted? No, they didn't dare fly me. You know, so I was in an ambulance. And they had given me, I found that out later on, that they had given me a hallucinogenic. And when I got down to the main hospital, but 2.5 hour away hospital, I kept seeing aliens. And the fact that these aliens were going to take my daughter and me. So I needed to get, free of these hallucinogenic. Those things that make you hallucinate. Those things right there. But they didn't listen to me. What they did was put my call button just out of reach. I was intubated, and that same night that I went down, where Brittany thought I was over in this one hospital and I was actually being operated on at this other hospital, they didn't want to take the tube out for fear I would blow another blood clot. Because the first operation, I blew 2 blood clots right straight to my lungs. And they didn't want to chance that again. So, something needed to be in my mouth to hold my tongue where it was supposed to be, I needed to be intubated with one of those boring things that, they stick in your mouth, help you breathe. It was horrible. I tried picking it out, shoving it out with my tongue so many times it wasn't even funny. And I guess the one time I was itching. I itched so bad that I had taken my arm and gone around my back. While I was itching my back, I didn't realize that I had taken out my IV and was basically bleeding to death. And from what I saw, I don't know if it was a hallucinating. What is that word, you guys? You got to tell me. Put it in the comments. Hallucination. It was a hallucination. And the aliens were after Brittany. Brittany was running down the hall. And I tried to get my attention of my surgeon. You know, please help me, help me. And he must have seen me doing something like this because he was like, yes, we're going to get to you soon with your next operation. And I was like, no. You know, I couldn't yell it. It was in my head. It was horrid. Horrid. Yep. What is it, 6 o'clock? Not quite. Okay. Well, it's 6 o'clock somewhere, so I should probably cut this story short, right? Yep. Yeah, because this one you can... Well, I guess that's about it for... Yeah. I think I'm going to stop for right there. And continue on in a little bit. Okay? Okay. See you in a minute. Love you guys. Thanks for listening up to this point. Yeah. The next segment, we'll get into the operations and rehab and stuff. Doesn't that sound like fun? Yeah. Okay, I'll be back. Hey friends, I'm back for part 2. Part 1, I noticed that I was really sluggish with the way I was speaking. Yeah. And if I'm going to get my whole story in about this wonderful car accident, I need to speed it up. So, the reason they didn't listen to me when I said I was seeing aliens was because after they transported me from a small hospital to large hospital, they operated on me. Okay, I had a crushed pelvis, crushed hip, crushed left ankle, and while I was under anesthesia, I blew 2 blood clots. One went to my brain, the other one went to my lung. And so then I wasn't doing real well on the table. And because of that, they didn't dare go any further with that operation. So they left me intubated, and that's why I couldn't talk to the nurses. And I had always thought that the nurses were playing cards, but I hallucinated that. And I started to itch, ended up pulling out my IV, almost bled to death. And I couldn't get my breathing right with that thing that was down my throat. I had a very, very difficult time with that. And so, of course, I would keep pushing the button because I was trying to talk to them, but I couldn't talk to them because my mouth was full and taped, and, you know, that was that. So in the meantime, Brittany had found out where I was, and after, okay, the following morning, my doctor came in as soon as possible to get me down to the operating room. And it was so weird because I still couldn't talk. They didn't know how to identify me because I was a Jane Doe. And Jane Doe trauma, like I said, it was either trauma 21 or trauma 23. So I went in for my second operation on my ankle to fix my ankle. When I was done with that, they took the tube from my mouth, thank the good Lord, and I could speak at that point. But okay, so from that, my leg was in traction. It's really scary because I think the people that work there, and I'm sure they're not all the same, but the people who took care of me, I think they thought because I was so drugged with the so-called painkillers, that I couldn't feel when they went over the bumps in the hallway. It was just like when you're going down a highway and you hit those the tar bumps in the middle of the road, and it goes ba-bump, 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 ba-bump. Well, there was two of them, one at the head of my bed and one at the foot of my bed. They would either take me for x-rays or CT scans or whatever they happened to be checking on. They would go so fast. I would be so dizzy watching the lights. And it, boom, 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 boom. Well, they went around the corner, right? And I'm like, ow. Well, it must have pissed them off because they're like, you can't feel anything. You have more, and they would use the F word, medicine in you, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, I swear I can feel it. Please slow down. Well, no, we got to get to where you're going. Well, for the one scan, they had just left me out in the hallway, and I was there for so long, and nobody had come. I thought everybody had gone home. And actually, Brittany, a whole bunch of them, my neighbor, her three children. It was Brittany, the neighbor mom, oldest boy, youngest boy, other girl, no, but the boy's girlfriend. Okay, so there's 6 of them, all piled in the girlfriend's Subaru, small car. I don't even know what she told her dad, but they all headed down. 2.5, 3 hour drive, boom. And I still had, I was still intubated. And Brittany's like, she knew I had something to say. And that nurse was so good to me. She asked me if I wanted her to say a prayer, please. And I don't even know, but I was just like, yes. So she took my hands and did a prayer with me. And I was just so grateful for that. So then after that, I kept asking Brittany for some paper. Well, I was like, I must have been doing that. Paper and pencil. And I knew I was writing down what was wrong. And she told me later, she was like, Mom, she said it was just a bunch of scribbles. She said, you were so out of it. I was like, oh, dear God. Another friend sent me an orchid. And you guys are probably thinking, yeah, so what? People go through shit. I don't even know why. I may not even post this. I guess I just want to explain to you that I don't even understand, what I'm going through right now, other than I don't know where my happy self went. My happy is just want to be alone. But the thing of it is, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one going through this right now. You know, my daughter experienced this too. I'm so used to my Bijou Bliss trays that I think they're going to attach with the magnets. I love the Diamond Art Club trays, don't get me wrong, but I love my Bijou Bliss too with the magnets. What am I doing here? Is that this? Yeah, that's these, right? No, that's the equal sign. I had a whole other one of those. Geez, oh many banini. So, they finally moved me to a room from the ICU. But before that, the girls that come neither washed your hair with a dry shampoo or, you know, braided your hair. My hair was long at that point. And I heard them say, you don't want to go into that room. She's mean. She's crazy. Don't go in there. Don't even talk to her. And again, that was when I had the tube in my throat. And I remember telling Brittany afterwards, after they had taken that out, I said, when I get out of here and I don't have to worry about any repercussions, I want to come back. I said, please make sure you know who have treated me so terrible and have been so mean to me. When I could do absolutely nothing for myself. You know, I had a catheter. And after they took the catheter out, it just kept feeling like I had to urinate. But I didn't want to go all over the bed. Well, they'd put me on the bedpan, take me off, and then they'd make smart-ass remarks about that. Well, this girl, she doesn't know when she has to urinate or not. And then I found out later on that if you've been what's the word? I just used it. You know, if you have been catheterized, you will feel like you have to urinate all the time. And it's hard to decipher, you know, when you have to go and when you don't. So anyway, I finally, like I said, I finally get to my own room. Physical therapy people come, and they didn't want to do anything with me. So they let me just sit in the chair. And so I was like, I'm fine with that. And Uncle Jim didn't feel like there was any reason for me for him to come down or bring Brittany down to see me. He said it cost too much money, too much gas. I was like, gee, thanks, you know. I literally did die on the table with clots, and I had a fever I couldn't get rid of. So they had me on every floor. And at the one point, this older lady, I don't know if she was like a veteran nurse or what, but they were trying to catheterize me again for another urine sample to try to find out why I wouldn't get rid of my fever. And I knew there were people on that second bed in the room that I was in because I heard them, because they were having sounded like a mini party in there. I mean, they brought pizza in. I don't even know what all they brought in. But I had seen them come through with pizza and soda, in and out, in and out, in and out. Well, the people that was trying to get my urine, they didn't care. I was halfway on the gurney and in the bed, and this girl's like, well, just stop right there. We'll get a urine sample like this. We'll just catheterize her. You have to spread your legs. Mind you, my hip is crushed, my pelvis is crushed, and she is spreading my legs. All right? Well, you have to relax. You have to relax. Meanwhile, this other girl's trying to comb my hair, and she's saying, you know, I liked you so much better when you were on all of your pain medicine. You're a grump now. She said, so I'm not even going to do your hair. And she turned around and walked away. They ended up not being able to get the tube in my, whatever you want to call that thing. I call it my pee hole. So they were like, oh, we don't know. Just try and go on the bedpan. And then they flopped me back in the bed half-assed. This is supposed to be a top-of-the-line trauma hospital. Yeah. They sent me home still having the low-grade fever and wanted me to do, my surgeon did not want me to do rehab up here. He wanted me to stay down there, but it was just too far away from home. And so I came up here. The hospital bed was set up. I'm getting home health care set up, you know, and obviously Brittany was my home health care aide. They messed that up so bad she didn't get a paycheck for a year. A year. And it was all bureaucratic bullshit that was lies and more lies. It said it had something to do with my EIN number, and then someone else would get on the phone. It's like, oh no, it's not your EIN number, it's this. Your EIN number is fine. It did end up being that my EIN number, that's your employer identification number, because it goes through as a Commonwealth or common law employer. So I'm home. My doctor didn't want any weight on my left ankle until that had time to adhere, because there was a rod in it, keeping that put together. So I wasn't to put any weight on that, but I couldn't stand to be lifted out, because every time I was moved, whether I was rolled, got up on the commode, sat in the wheelchair or what, I was in so much pain. It was so bad. So they would tell Brittany, well, your mom's never going to walk again if you don't get her up. Every time she touched me, I literally screamed, which took her back to the car accident. You know, me screaming in her ear. And it was just horrible. It was horrible for her. It was horrible for me. It was just horrible. And, like I said, trigger warning, doesn't get much better than what I'm talking about right now. So if you can't stand the talk, you know, feel free to, you don't have to listen to it. And I'm not saying this for a woe is me. I'm just telling you where I come from, just so we know each other a little better is all. So, I was here for 6 weeks, and then I had to go back down, where I was supposed to get the rest of my hip operated on. Well, they opened me up, and I was full of staph infection. Hence the reason for the low-grade temp that would not go away. And when I went to infectious disease floor, that doctor said, oh, Dr. So-and-so put another dirty instrument in another patient, and now this has happened again. I was in such pain, and I don't know. I just didn't. Everybody was like, get a lawyer, get a lawyer. you know, sue them. You can sue them. And I was just like, yeah, whatever. They would just treat me bad if I ever had to go back. Well, no, it's against the law. They can't do that, please. And I should have, but I didn't. And that's, you know, that's that. So I finally had my other hip operation with a total hip replacement instead of partial hip replacement. And they sent me to, Brittany was like, there was no way. She's like, there is no way in hell that my mother is coming here for these 6 weeks. And plus, I needed to be in a place because I had to get an antibiotic through intravenous, and it was in my neck. I had to have it, like the tube was in my neck. So from being 3 hours away, they brought me up to this other rehab. And God, you know, at the time you don't see the blessings, but I was very, very blessed because God had the best rehabilitation team at the time at the rehabilitation place, which is also called, it was also a manor for the elderly people. I guess since it has gone way downhill again, which I feel very bad for the people that are there. But I was in a private room. The people were great. And yes, so thankful for that. And relearned how to walk. I'm going to try and attach a video where I'm walking. And maybe if I can, put a picture of the car on there, on here. So, and Brittany had ins with the people that she knew at the manor. So if they weren't putting my boot on at night, so I didn't have the drop foot syndrome, she made sure that they were doing that. And then what else? Yep. And then, yeah, every year it's kind of like been a PTSD. I don't know. They had me on so many different narcotic pain relievers. I was already on Ativan when I went in, which is also helps with pain relief. They had me on Dilaudid, Percocet, and then they traded me from Dilaudid to methadone, to come home on methadone, because they thought that it was cheaper than morphine. So I got my doses of that at the manor. Well, my doctor that I had up here decided that they weren't going to doctor me anymore during the car accident time. So when I came home, I did not have a doctor. So I had to go to a new doctor, and they all looked at me like, why are you coming in here? Why are you in a wheelchair? You know? Because they had no idea what I had gone through. With my hip, my pelvis, the blood clot, the oxygen loss to the brain, all of that. But they did. They worked with me, with remembering, with memory, my memory loss, and such. I never did learn how to go downstairs forward. I go downstairs backwards unless it's like 1 or 2 stairs. Yeah. So people look at me weird when I do that. I have a wheelchair, a walker, a cane, I'm not supposed to drive, but sometimes I do drive. And so I was, let's see, I was at the big hospital between 2.5 to 3 months. I came home for 6 weeks. That Brittany took care of me those 6 weeks. And then I went back to the big hospital for another 2 weeks. And then from there was transported to the manor or the rehab. And I was there for 6 weeks. So I came home from there in October-ish. From March. I was, except for the 6 weeks that I was in the hospital bed here. Poor Brittany. Oh, it was horrible for her trying to take care of me. And she didn't have any help. For 24/7. She had very, very little help. We had to beg for anybody to come help us to do the dishes. She may have gotten an hour at night asleep. And she had given me a bell. And she said if she ever hears another bell ring again, she will rip it out of my hands. It was just, I mean, people stayed here. Her friends stayed here. Do you think they helped with the dishes? No. They ate all of our food. And the one friend, male friend, they weren't boyfriend and girlfriend, he helped. He told me, he said, if you ever scream in my ear like that again, he said, you won't scream again. That's how bad it hurt. And even with the Percocet and the Dilaudid, or the methadone, I'm sorry, because they had taken me off the Dilaudid. So, yeah. How long am I going on here? 24 minutes. Okay, so this has been just about an hour of my... Yeah, and I didn't even put in all the details and all the bullshit that happened. Yeah, with Brittany. But you know what? I guess the bottom line is, and I'm sure this is what a lot of you will say, I made it through. I'm a stronger person because of it. I'm grateful. I'm grateful, and I'm thankful for the help that we did get. You know, we totaled the car, so we didn't have a car to use. People would see Brittany pushing me in the dead of the, summer, the hottest, even though we tried to go at the coolest times. She would be pushing me in the wheelchair. So to help me to get out, my God, she took care of me. The best little helper ever. And, I love her so much, and I am so grateful for her. I couldn't be more blessed. So why am I so gnarly? I don't understand it. If it's the winter, the memories, I'll have to tell you the rest of it at another time. But, my Sasani that came and went. That is, if you're interested. You know what? Let me know. Let me know if you want to hear any more about it. I mean, I've rambled for an hour all about me. Tell me something about you, okay? Is there something that you want to talk about? It'd be great to be able to have people on, and I'm not sure how to do that yet. I don't know how to do StreamYard, but so many things I need to learn. I need to get my head out of my dark area, right? Okay, I hope I didn't blare your ears off. And I will put trigger warning at the beginning. Like I said, if you don't want to listen to it, I will not be offended. I think it helped talking about it and just you know, letting it flow. I don't feel it flowed smoothly, but it flowed, right? It did something. I'm going to try and merge those two together. Work on this other project I have going on. I switched WIP N Chats. Do you see? I switched WIPs. Now I'm working on Meowie Christmas. Sorry. Thank you, friends. Thank you. I love you guys. Whatever you want to write in the comments, feel free. Don't worry about hurting my feelings. And my uncle did come see me when I was at the manor because it was a 20-minute drive. He brought me cheesies and chocolate every Wednesday. I shit you not, every Wednesday. Yeah. All right. God rest his soul. Okay. I love you guys. Thank you for being there for me. I really do love you. You're my friends. And I appreciate it. And Kathy, if you're walking, I hope you're really walking hard today. Okay? Get on that treadmill. You walk, walk, walk. I need to get my treadmill set up to help me walk. Yes. Okay, I love you guys. That's it. I know I'm the worst person to say see you later. Au revoir. Au revoir. Au revoir. Okay. See you later. Bye. Remember to subscribe, hit that like button, share. Excuse me. Love you. Bye-bye.